Hi, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I am working with DNVGL. Today I am going to share a very interesting topic, that is production planning and control. And this video will be in two parts. In this particular part, I'll be talking about production planning process, what are the different aspects of it, what are the customer expectation, and in the next video that will come in next week, I'll be talking about the possible challenges that organization is facing, customer is facing, and what can be the possible solution with respect to that. So now to talk about part number one. Benjamin Franklin has said that by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. If we talk about production planning process, the persons who are working in production planning process, they are the key people who are actually the bridge between organization and the customer, as well as with the supplier also. In true sense, PPC people are considered to be the captain of the ship because they know what are the expectations of the customers, what is the requirement inside the organization, what are the challenges they are facing, and what kind of issues or problems that are coming from the supplier, and they manage the entire show in most of the cases without any authority. In any organization, for a production planning process to run effectively, 5 M's are very important. That are man, machine, material, method, as well as money. While talking about the production planning process, it's also very important to understand from PDC approach, plan, do, check, act, because it works exactly in that way. Initially, they plan everything based on the forecast which they receive from the customer. Based on the forecast, they see that how the things can be organized and planned and executed. Once they execute it, then they check that whether it is fulfilling to the requirement of customer or not. And at times, when there is changes coming from the customer or there is any complaint from the customer with respect to any delivery delay, the PPC process can change the planning so that they can meet the customer requirement. If you broadly talk about, there are 4 different kind of production processes that happens. The first one is a job type of production, like you are making a bridge or you're making a ship, so at one place everything is happening. The second one is batch type of production, wherein a certain batch is being produced, say for example in a heat treatment process. The third one is mass production, like in assembly lines of any automotive industry, where you are producing continuously, right? There's a mass production. And the fourth one is a process industry, like the chemical plant, where the continuous process is going on and does not stop in between in any way. If we talk about IAT of 16949 OEM, IAT of subscribing OEMs, only one subscribing OEM has specified the requirement with respect to production planning and control, and that is Peugeot Citroën. As per IAT of 16949, clause number 8.5.1.7, there are many requirements or many inputs that are being specified, which are important to ensure that the production planning process is effective. So let me share all of them. The first one is just in time. When I say just in time, the intent is that the customer does not want a lot of inventory at their place. They want material to come immediately when they are actually doing the assembly or actually going to do some manufacturing their end. Just like at homes where we get fresh food, something similar is expected by the customer. Then the second important thing is it should be customer driven process. Like whenever any requirement is coming from the customer, only then organization has to start production at their own place, and similarly during that time they need to demand something from the supplier. Now it can be based on the previous experiences, it can be based on the kind of projections the organization has received from the customer. Here the intent is to have a pull kind of system on the basis of Kanban, so that there is limited or very less inventory at any place, because customer does not pay for the inventory. The next important point is with respect to inventory control. Now it's very important for the production planning process to make sure that they have certain minimum and maximum inventory level, so that when they get some order from the customer, they know that how much material is available with them and how much material more they need. And based on the inventory control, they can decide that how much material they need from the supplier, how much material is in transit, how much material is in warehouse, or how much material may be at the customer end, and the production planning can be done effectively based on that inventory control process. The next very important input is with respect to preventive maintenance of the machines. Now, maintenance of machines and tooling is very important for the health. Now, when an organization is planning for the preventive maintenance, it's very important that input should go to the planning process, so that when they are planning everything, they know that from this particular time to this particular time on this particular month, the machines will not be available, all the toolings are not there. Why this input is available? So that the delivery schedule to the customer is not getting impacted and everything is planned accordingly. The next important thing is with respect to availability of competent manpower. Now, there are different reasons why competent manpower is not available. Sometimes due to festivals, maybe because of high absenteeism due to certain religious things, and so many other things are there. So PPC process has to ensure that based on the previous data, they know that during this particular times, especially most of the people take long vacations during year end. So based on that, they need to ensure and plan the production planning process so that the delivery to the customer is not getting impacted. Another very important aspect with respect to inventory process is to ensure that whether in the organization the shutdown is being planned as per the schedule or not. Now, this shutdown, I'm talking about the plant shutdown. Now, many times the OEMs plan their shutdown maybe 6 monthly or maybe 12 monthly. So organization has to align their shutdown accordingly. Many times organization also plan their own shutdown. So it's very important that customer line should not get disturbed at that time. So organization need to ensure that when they are planning shutdown, so accordingly they should have that much of inventory so that customer requirements can be taken care of. And just like there can be many more requirements which are key inputs, like one of the key input, another input is with respect to calibration process. Now, at certain frequency, it can be monthly, 3 monthly, or maybe yearly. Organization get the calibration done for all the key and critical equipments. Many times these measuring instruments are actually mounted on the machine, and for doing the calibration, machine has to be stopped. So it's very important that for planning process, all the calibration plans should be given so that they know that during which time the machines will not be available or the test equipments are not available, and they can plan the production accordingly. Again, one more reason that customer delivery schedule is not being affected in any way. Some of the key risks, if I talk about the production planning process, they include some maybe the labor issues, maybe the issues which are related to inside the organization when there is some labor shortage. There can be issues like the pandemic, like what is happening these days, like COVID-19, what is happening. And there can be some other possible risks with respect to non-availability of the machines. And these risks generally affect the production planning process. But if the production planning is being done effectively, then it results in customer satisfaction. It results in low inventory and low manufacturing cost in the organization. It enhances the relationship with the customer, and it also improves the morale of the employees who are working inside. So if I do the summary, I talked about the 5 M's. I talked about the attributes for a production planning process. I talked about the PDC approach with respect to production planning process. Then I also talked about the different kind of production activities, like 4 kind of activities. And then I talked about different inputs that are required for effective production planning process, which included customer driven process, pull system. It should be based on customer requirement, then inventory control, competent manpower, availability of resources, then calibration process, preventive maintenance, and shutdown. And when we take care of all those things, we always assure that production planning process works effectively. So this is the end of part 1. In my next video next week, I'll be talking about what are the possible challenges which are there with respect to production planning processes and what can be the possible solutions. In case you want to get these kind of videos regularly, so you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Moreover, in case you want to read these video in more detail, you can click the below link and you can access my blog. Thank you very much.